Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Jonas. Today, my guest, I'm very honored to have Jessica Sgambelluri. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I call Jessica Butterfly, and as the podcast progresses, you'll all understand why. So, Jess, let's have a conversation.
Sounds good.
All right, terrific. You are a dancer.
I sure am. Yeah.
Among other things. You are quite an accomplished dancer,
Thank you.
which we'll certainly get into some of that. I want to talk about, did you dance from the time you were a little girl? Was it always something that just, you kind of knew?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Like
Okay.
my parents like to say that it was my calling, or that I was born a dancer, because they put me in. It was more like karate at first, and within our preschool we had karate, but I was not interested in that. I was more interested in the music that I was hearing in the room next door, and that was the ballet class. So I started taking ballet, and that was at 3 years old. And
3 years old.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'm like dee, 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 dee. And I didn't do well in school as far as being separated from my mom. So she quickly realized that dance for some reason was the only space where she would bring me, and I would like run into class happily instead of crying or running into the parking lot after her.
Okay.
It was like I was so happy to be dancing from a very, very early age. So they kept me in it, and would ask what I wanted to sign up for, and I would want more and more and more and more. And my parents are angels, like so they supported it all.
Absolutely.
But I dabbled in like musical theater and voice, but it always came back to dance. Like dance was home. Yeah.
So ballet at 3 and a continual exposure and diving in to dance. And you, among other things, you teach the Martha Graham method, right? And are you currently doing that?
I currently don't teach any open Graham classes, but I
Okay.
do teach and rehearse and assist a Graham-based company. So the work of Jackie Buglisi, who founded and originated the Table of Silence. Her company is very, very rooted in the Graham work. So
Yeah.
that video was 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I feel though I don't teach the Graham technique in open classes anymore, it continues to teach me like in rehearsal, and I continue to be a teacher to others, and that is a constant dialogue even within, like you said, music, and
Right,
especially within my other forms of dance now.
Are there
Yeah,
other paths that people take?
Yeah. I think the path that I'm on right now is my truest path, and that's with the Limon technique.
Limon.
Yeah,
Yes.
Limon, Jose Limon. So Jose Limon founded this technique, and I still have so much yet to learn from that technique that I am teaching it, but I still have so much yet to learn that I almost struggle to teach it, because I want to be in the class. I want to be taking the class so much, but that technique has changed, I would say, my way of life and my way of approaching and seeing and sensing movement completely.
That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
reinventing what you've what you've reinventing how you perceive
Yeah.
the communication of arcs of movement and organic form, and
Yeah.
that's a pretty strong discovery.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
again,
it's shocking.
I understand that because, as you know, I've been playing drums for
Right.
50 years, and it was a few years ago that I became friendly with a drummer that I'm a big fan of, and he kind of became a mentor of mine. His name is Jerry Murata. I can name 1,000 artists that he's played with, but since being close to him, I've reinvented my whole approach.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back a little bit to Jacqueline Buglisi. I know I've seen many productions.
Yep.
Now, Jacqueline Buglisi, she originated Requiem.
Yes, she created Requiem.
Okay. Requiem, tell us what Requiem is.
Requiem is a piece created by Jackie. It's about 25 minutes in its full length. We rarely get the opportunity to perform its full length, but it's the piece that made me audition for her company. And Jackie had created Requiem during, 9/11 occurred during its creation process. And at that point, she decided she needed to create something that was so exquisitely beautiful amongst humans, so exquisitely beautiful that we would not want to harm each other or want to disturb that. So Requiem was her offering of deep beauty that it is so beautiful that it really does close the gap between heaven and earth. It's all
stunning.
there. Yeah.
I the first time I saw it performed, I cried just watching you all come out on
Yeah.
stage. Now, the art design, I think it's important to talk about
Yeah.
how it's fashioned after a famous painting or an artist's work, right? The costumes and the lighting, it was almost like watching a painting, a classical painting,
Yes.
come to life.
Yeah, and Jackie's very influenced by many, many painters and poets and sculptures, and she pulls all of these images and thoughts that stay with her, and she pours them into her work. So the lighting in that piece, within the lighting design of the gobo, the design is meant to look as if the sun is coming through stained glass of a cathedral.
Yes, yes.
So are we humans or are we angels that are dancing amongst? Are we descending? There's a moment, a section of the dance where we are standing atop 18-inch platforms. So we are definitely no longer on the earthly realm. We take the giant 10-foot skirts off at some point and we wear them as garments.
Yes.
So that we have returned back to biblical times. So she's able to transcend time and space. And it's just, it's a remarkable work. And because of the trauma that it was born from, there's so many images that people may not recognize when they immediately are watching, but they know the feeling that it leaves with them. And the images that Jackie teaches us or shares with us, I should say, while we're in rehearsal, it's stunning. I'm like, how does your mind and your heart, how are you able to hold all of this in and harness it into that?
There's the
genius.
gift, right?
It's genius,
there's
you know?
the gift. Yeah. Okay, so Requiem was being created and 9/11 happened. And out of that unimaginable tragedy that we've all endured was born the Table of Silence.
Table of Silence. I've been lucky enough to participate in about 8 years. And so it's, as you said, it occurs on the Josie Robertson Plaza in Lincoln Center. And we usually have upwards of 125 dancers that join
Yeah.
us. These are all volunteer dancers that come to participate in this memorial. And we also now have musicians and opera singers from the Metropolitan Opera. But with our number of dancers, we create 3 concentric circles in order to create this living, breathing mandala that sends up an offering of peace or divine light on that particular day. And at the very end of the Table of Silence, everyone, let's say this past year, I believe it was 181 dancers. Everyone holds still space for a moment of silence or a
Right.
minute of silence.
Right. And there are at the times where the planes struck the towers, there are significant moments as well in the performance.
Yeah, our minute of silence is when the first plane struck the tower.
So I want to talk to you about dance itself. Is dancing pain?
No,
Okay.
no.
Is pain a part of being a dancer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
probably a more accurate question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think dance should never be pain. It should be the very opposite. But we should absolutely allow our pain as humans to enter our dancing for sure. I mean, that enriches it tenfold. And the experience of being a dancer and the many deaths along the way are painful. I tend to feel things in extremes as well. I tend to push myself a little too far, as I've realized this past year. And so with that, you learn things in hindsight, or once you've gone a little too far and you're experiencing pain in a way that's not really manageable. So there are like emotional pains and physical pains, financial pains, things like in all of those
A
different
dedicated
categories.
artist, when you're being a dedicated artist as you are, and the people that you work with all are, they're all incredible. Everybody that I've seen,
Yeah. Yeah. Just
they're-
amazing.
I wanted to go back to the Requiem piece. There's a point early in the piece where you all kind of tap the floor. I found that because you mentioned about, are we angels? Are we? That kind of that always stuck with me because you were touching the earth, right?
Yes.
So there was that connection, but you only do it once in the performance. You all do this sort of simultaneous tap on the ground, and I found it very moving. So it's interesting how it comes, when it comes around, when you put the dresses on
Yep.
as shawls, and I hadn't really put that connection together. So, I'm grateful for, a little more education into that.
Yeah, yeah. I hope we perform it again soon, and then the images all just they come to you involuntarily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this past year, in July, I had a cervical spine injury. I thought it would be nothing, but it was something, and it was kind of just the perfect storm of I landed incorrectly in rehearsal, and there was a spiral from there. So I was left with 2 herniated discs in my neck, one of which was pressing on the brain cord. So I was getting a lot of neurological symptoms and lost use of my left arm. And I was in a pain that I had never, ever known before. Really quite shocking nerve pain. So I thought it was, I was the ever optimist, hoping it was just a pinched nerve at first. I tried everything, and tried to push through performances. I kept running my level of pain by my doctor, and as far as she knew it was expected, and so I thought, okay, I'll keep dancing. I should not have kept dancing. I should have, prioritized my health first. But at a certain point, my directors realized that I was not going to do that, and they needed to do that for me.
Okay.
So
sometimes that's what we need.
Yeah, and I'm really blessed that I have directors that are willing to do that, but keep me in the company. So they did not leave me, but I have not performed since August. So the neck, was on its mission, healing. It was getting better, and unfortunately, I had an accident, and my lung collapsed, and so I was dealing with that, and that kind of put a pause on the hold or the healing of my neck, and obviously, is a bit of a deflation to your spirit as well. But that eventually got better. I started rehabbing more. I was eventually able to take a dance class. I was like in PT, and then my lung collapsed again with another accident. So with 2 lung collapses on the same lung, the neck injury, it was just, it was pretty
harrowing,
pretty devastating.
It's harrowing. Just hearing about it,
Yeah, it was
difficult.
Not something I ever expected to encounter. But now looking back on it, I'm not surprised in a way that it happened. Unfortunately, a very, very abusive relationship ended in June. My injury happened in July. So the lungs are the organ that carry grief. So it is not lost on me that my body had no idea how to handle my grief. And I was no longer a person's partner. So if I stopped dancing, then I was not a dancer either. What was I? So I kept dancing.
Couldn't be robbed of
Right.
Right.
So I kept going and I kept going until I couldn't, and then I thought it would be kind of an involuntary retirement situation, that this would be the injury that I never came back from. And my directors made every attempt to make sure I understood that that is not the case.
Okay.
They want me in the company. They need me in the company. I have so much left to say with my dancing, like so much.
But that reassurance had tremendous value, I'm sure.
The reassurance has a physical effect. It like literally tells your body, like, okay, you have a second, you have time, you're safe, like
you're protected.
Right. You're safe now. You can heal. And so, yeah, we're healing real well. Yeah.
It's the first time I met you. It was at Equinox Spa on Lexington Avenue. I am a massage therapist. You were greeting people in the spa. And the first time I saw you, you were standing in first position. And then you proceeded to tell me this hilarious story about you were at a wedding and they played Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And you were the only single.
Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, just from that moment on, I just, you were in my heart, and it was so funny. And so, again, and I'm grateful. Obviously, we cultivated a terrific friendship and all that. And but if I remember correctly, at that time, that was one of 3 jobs you were working, right? So that you could live in Manhattan and, keep everything, somewhat organized.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like hustle was very real as far as working so many multiple jobs, like catering company, Equinox, like trying to get a Pilates certification. So I'm working at a Pilates studio. Work at Graham 2 was, my first professional job. And it was like, yeah, many
And
things.
dance classes and
Right.
rehearsal and physical activity. It's incredible how you were able to sustain that.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
yeah,
and
dancers put in a lot of time for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
for sure, for sure. So I wanted to talk a little bit about aging. I know in every profession, essentially, except for maybe teaching or a few other. Academic teaching. Aging becomes a factor, especially in an athletic endeavor. So, do you think teaching is the sort of the viable or makes sense
Yeah, it's
transition?
definitely one of the transitions that would be sustainable and also has a beautiful responsibility to it. I mean, you get to impact the next generation and share legacy work with them,
Right.
like to be able to uphold the legacy of Jose Limon in my instance, or share with them the teachings of Martha Graham. Like that is a tremendous privilege as a teacher for sure. And luckily, well, right now we have institutions that have, large dance departments and the need for dance teachers. So I hope that need continues, because right now, that could be a risk. Like teaching could disappear really, really quickly for us. But that teaching, rehearsal directing, like those are wonderful, wonderful facets for people to move into, and very much what I'm interested in, because I love to see inspiration happening in front of your eyes. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
well, and you teach children as well, right?
I used to,
You
yeah.
used
Oh
to,
my
yeah.
gosh, like
Teacher,
teeny,
teacher.
teeny babies. The tiny babies, yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's a unique energy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because kids are so unfiltered and free.
Yep.
And I know, again, I've taught drum lessons in my life, sometimes to beginners, and their ideas are incredible.
Yeah.
Right? They're unfiltered. They're just it's new to them, but they can do something that I'll say, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. I never would have thought of that on my own. So there's a wonderful kind of richness to that as well. This sort of, we're all beginners in a sense, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, we're all kind of first year.
Yep.
And that's, I always find that to be a really inspiring thing in the arts,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. And it just, there's something about, like, for instance, when I'm working with the Buglisi dancers, it has a way of keeping you so present. And I would hope this is the case for most teachers, that it keeps you so present because you're holding this person's like essence and their career. So much of them is with you in that moment, and the exchange of energy, the choice of your words and the way you say things, the way you hold yourself, the way you touch them, everything is so valuable and so important. So it's just like, it becomes very meditative, because in no way would I ever want to be a mindless teacher, like go ahead and like run it and like,
Yeah, if it
see you
becomes
later.
rote, then,
Right. But
there's no sense in it.
like, exactly. But to be like, yeah, it's the responsibility, the privilege, the thoughtfulness of teaching individuals is, yeah, really lovely. And right now I'm actually teaching in the public schools in New York, which is a wildly different experience, teaching Limon technique to like District 5 schools in New York. So I'm up in Harlem teaching about 8 classes a week, but this week is my last week there. And it has been so cool. So cool.
It sounds
to
amazing.
See the students go from like, ma'am, no, I will not be doing a double bounce and swinging my arms. And last week they were literally like, no, wait, I know the bell rang, but can we do it one more time? Just one more time. I want to do it across the floor. I almost got it.
And that's a testament.
We can stay all day long.
It's a testament to your teaching ability and what you're translating.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So I'm going to mention a date to you. The date is May 2nd, 2020. And I'm going to mention De Fliegende Hollander, The Flying Dutchman, the Wagnerian opera. May 2nd, 2020 was your debut, dancing at the Metropolitan Opera.
Yep. Aww.
I was there. A week and a half later, that COVID closed the Met down.
Yep.
And what you had worked essentially your whole life to achieve and then did achieve, suddenly it went dark.
Yep. Yeah, we got
through
3
no
shows
fault
in.
of anybody's.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about that. How did you kind of navigate those emotions? Because you had to have felt cheated, robbed. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. It very much was both of those emotions. We also had our very first, my first Limon season at the Joyce approaching. That was also canceled.
Okay. So even more loss.
Yeah, the 2 things that I was like, oh my God, I did it. Then go home and sit with your parents forever. And it's like, you don't know really if things are ever going to come back. You don't know. Well, we knew nothing at that time. But honestly, what I knew at that point was that I had done it and I could do it. Like I could do it again. Mm-hmm. So I was left with knowing I would have redemption. Basically, I would be able to come back and we would perform again, but it's very teasing to be able to, you're up on the Metropolitan Opera stage and I'm like, wow, this is the one job I auditioned for the most amount of times. Finally it happened,
And then it didn't.
The show did come back, but it did not come back for another 5 years?
5 years.
So
it was so beautiful. Oh my God, I loved that performance so much. So the Joyce Theater, that's where you do the Limon performances. Is that sort of your home theater?
Luckily, we've actually had the blessing of performing there for the past 3 years in a row, which is not common. But we have a wonderful relationship with someone at the Joyce, and they see the value in our work.
It's a wonderful venue.
And it's a beautiful venue. It's lovely. It's a great location. Everyone loves coming to the Joyce. It feels like home for everybody,
Yeah.
So the company had a great season there last year. I was not in the season because I was injured, but I sure did go and see them, and wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I was like, these are my colleagues. This is who they accepted me. It's like, wow, amazing. But yes, the Joyce is very special to us and we love going there. It's there's so much history within the walls for modern dance, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
So you're wrapping up a teaching engagement. You were saying up in Harlem. You're wrapping. That's coming to an end. What's on the horizon?
Well, I'm so excited. exactly a week. We go back to rehearsals. So we will start rehearsals back with Limon full time. We're looking at, well, we're actually performing a memorial performance at the Joyce for Carla Maxwell, who was just an absolute icon in every way within modern dance and specifically Limon. She led the company for 34 years as the artistic director. So she passed away this past year, and we will be celebrating all that she made and was and is. So we will be performing at the Joyce for her in March. So next week we start and we start
Terrific.
rehearsing, start learning new works. I haven't been in the space since August, so I am, like
So
first day of
it's
school.
a rebirth in many ways. It's amazing how people like that live on through us,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
I play in a band, and every time we play a Beatles song or a Who song, or people who are no longer with us, we're kind of keeping them alive, aren't we?
Yes, exactly. Like the
Yeah.
works that we're going to be learning, that I'm so excited to be learning. It's a work called Mazurkas, and it's all of the music of Chopin, and all of Mazurkas is Chopin, and that's a musician to me that I'm like, I get to embody that spirit, his spirit, for whatever amount of time. It really is definitely a way of keeping a person alive, and so cool if you can allow yourself to be a vessel and let them come through you, is even like
Sure.
more.
That's sort of the goal. That should be the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting the way art reveals and re-reveals. I did a show recently. A friend of mine and I did a podcast together about the albums of 1972. It's a little before your time, but your dad and your mom would love it. And obviously in the 70s, it was a very adventurous time, it was particularly in the arts, film, music. But 1972, for whatever reason it is, seems to have been this vortex of creativity where, and I can name 100 classic albums that came out, but that was why we focused on that year, because so much great music came out that year. It was 2 episodes we had to do, and that was only 26 albums,
Oh my gosh.
13 albums an episode.
Yeah.
And we played little snippets of each song. But the point is these are albums that he and I have been listening to for decades. And in our teens, the album had a certain significance. And then in our 20s, it had a different significance.
Right.
And then, these albums have been with us, for decades, revealing a little bit about our age. But that was the really beautiful thing, that how they kept revealing things.
Yeah.
These pieces of music that we have listened to countless times, but still get very moved by.
Right.
And still, it's almost like they get better over time. And we realized these bands that we revered and loved, they were even greater than we thought they were, because of the enduring quality of it, So with certain dance pieces, I'm guessing, I'm sure there are standard dance pieces, right? Like there are standard pieces of music, Beethoven and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So when you're either performing yourself or watching a classic piece being performed, it's revealing something new, isn't it?
Right. Because your state of being is completely different every time that you perform something or sit down to observe something. You're a different being. You're completely different. So your experience will never be the same at all. And to me, there's a solo that I had the opportunity to perform with Limon, and it's 6 minutes long. It's not, a very, very long dance, and relatively simple in structure. And it has never once been even remotely the same, to the point where it has felt like different choreography in times, because your state of being is just different.
It's
And
alive.
yes. And
It's,
if you allow yourself to actually be honest to that and not prescribe what you're about to do, then yeah, it is and should be different.
yeah. It's remarkable. It's again, you know,
So fun.
It's a living, yes, it's a living, a breathing form.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And probably, I mean, I've had, I wouldn't call it arguments. I'd say debates. Aside from vocalization, probably one of the earliest forms of expression was dance.
Yes.
I go back, I think it was probably like drumming was probably also very early on in human expression, but dance is certainly has to be one of the earliest.
Yeah.
And you see it just you know, when I'm out with friends and certain music comes on, people, they just
It's
you know,
the human reaction. It's in our blood memory.
yes.
Yep. And
yes.
people danced for everything. They danced for the harvest. They danced for the gods. They danced for their ancestors. You know, it was for everything.
They dance when their boss says you can go home early.
Yeah.
They do a victory dance, right? Yeah, you know, it's just so pure, and I think it's very deeply rooted in the DNA.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I love more than anything watching children dance. Like at a wedding,
Yeah.
with the little dresses and their little bow ties.
Yep.
And you talk about freedom.
Oh my
Do
God.
they love to dance?
It's so great. So cute. They're just innocents and
And they dance all night long.
yeah.
Yeah. Again, and that speaks to, you know, that child is in there, right? Well, even when you're on the Metropolitan Opera stage, that child, that 3-year-old girl that started ballet classes, is still somewhere on that stage with you, right?
Oh, yeah. 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 I mean, I'm a giant child, and I tell people, like, I'm very childlike. I'm not childish. I'm very, very childlike. Yeah, I'm an ancient soul of a very, very, very young child. And I don't ever intend on losing that quality, you know, because
You couldn't even if you wanted to.
I don't think I could. No.
No. Well, also, your family, we touched a bit on you. You've had such a remarkable pathway.
Yeah.
Your mom is a doctor, right?
Yep.
And what does your dad do? I forget.
My dad was an architect.
Was an architect.
Yeah, is retired now.
So, artistic, healing, you know, human-centered. Your sister, Lizzie Grace,
Yep.
is also does remarkable things, right, with animal conservation. And you told me one time she was trying to develop something so that they wouldn't have to knock animals out, right, to collect their saliva or something. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's really, it's just remarkable to me. Can we talk a little bit about Lizzie Grace?
Yeah. Lizzie she's my older sister, and she, has a degree in just about everything that has to relate to science. So she deals with animal medicine and animal conservation and research, but also works as a PA, a physician associate. She is also a professor at Pace University within their their PA program. She was just awarded the teacher, it's like the Dean's Award for Teacher of Excellence. And she is excellent.
Yes, she is. Sadly, I have yet to meet her.
I know. I don't even know how that's possible.
I don't know how that's possible.
Well, that's because she's so busy. Yes. She's very busy saving the world.
I understand.
So she
it will happen.
works alongside my mom at the
beautiful
urgent care, like general practice. And yeah, she's just a remarkable doctor in the way of like her mind works like House. Have you ever seen House, the TV show?
Yeah,
She's
sure.
like Sherlock Holmes or House.
Okay.
You know, she just has this really nuanced, pretty mesmerizing way of thinking, and that penetrates the rest of her life. And yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well,
big, giant footprints for me to step in all my life.
okay. And you followed suit,
yeah.
quite beautifully.
Yeah, and we definitely didn't have, like sibling rivalry situation. It was like sibling congratulations.
And support.
Yeah.
Say, are there young people in the dance world who are doing things that excite you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There are, and I guess what excites me is that there are young dancers really interested in our history. And that is so refreshing to me that they're going about this with their original thought and their
vision,
their heart and soul, but they're interested in what came before and everything, the foundation of everything, the legacy of Graham and Ailey and Limon and Horton. They're interested in all of this, and Cunningham, and people are auditioning for like seeing the magic of Trisha Brown and Twyla Tharp instead of needing the spectacle of other offerings or the streamlined entertainment of like TikTok. Young, like when we came in to teach the classes in the city, those kids definitely thought we were coming in to teach them more of like a TikTok class.
Okay.
And so the idea of dance for young people, I think, is becoming like muddied. But people that are starting to study dance, I'm seeing more and more young dancers that have so much to say, but curiosity, like equal parts, they don't just have ego and want to say. They're willing to listen a whole lot and go back 60 years, into research. And so that to me is amazing. And I mean, we have dancers joining the company right now. I'm the oldest member of our company, which is shocking. I'm 33.
Right.
Like, I'm not old.
No, you are not.
But the young dancers that are coming in are so inspiring because they work hard and their brains are sharp. And most of them are humble and understanding that there is so much more than the spectacle. And so I think the amount of thought in the current generation is very exciting to me.
That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. With the advent of YouTube, for example, as a drummer, you see these remarkably talented young people, older people doing things that you didn't even think were possible on the drum set.
Yeah.
But and it's kind of a big but, a lot of it is expressive. A lot of it is impressive, but not expressive. And that's something. It's wonderful that they can do these magic tricks, these incredible feats of ability, but it's not as moving as somebody,
Right.
playing a simple groove with heart and conviction.
Yes.
So that, I think, kind of lends into what you were saying about they're not, the ones that are catching your eye are not as interested in the flash,
Right.
more the substance.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that would be with these young drummers that I talk about. I would urge them to sit down and play the Beatles records, sit down and play the AC/DC records, sit down and play to the radio, because that's where you're going to be moving people.
Yeah.
So it's great that you were saying that they're kind of discovering that ethos on their own, right? And being curious and what can you teach me today?
Yeah.
Instead of what can I show you that I can do today?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love watching Dancing with the Stars because you see the joy that dance provides. And it shows you that like everyone wants to be a dancer because like dance, like we were talking about before, dance lives in everybody. So like, this past season, Robert Irwin won
Really?
the Crocodile Hunter with this little heart of gold. So cute. He won. And it's just,
Didn't the daughter Beanie Irwin win a couple of? She was wonderful.
Yeah, Bindi also won.
Bindi.
Like, but the other dancers that also, and it's cool. I call them dancers. The other celebrities that came in to start learning dance, they all just grabbed onto it, and all of them kept talking about the positive change within their mind, the positive change in their life, their body, their health. And that's what I want to see. Like,
Yeah,
so,
that's where the true value lies.
and
right?
also the judges, when they give commentary, they would give them technical feedback. Shoulders a little further down, the tilt of the wrist, the tilt of the head, actual feedback instead of just here's a 5.
Right.
So I like seeing the contagious energy of dance.
I'm a fan of the mixed martial arts, and Chuck Liddell, who was one of the most fearsome mixed martial arts champions, was on Dancing with the Stars, and he did really well.
Yep.
He did really well. It was great.
It's just so
It was
cool.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people's personalities soften and change in front of you. It's really neat. Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
that I do love. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that dancing came to the public forefront with shows like that.
Yeah, it makes it more accessible as well. And yeah, people, then it just might spike their curiosity in a way. Oh, I never had thought about ballroom dance before. And
maybe a couple will go take a ballroom class together. Right.
It's just, yeah.
Which is great. And it keeps the art form, alive.
Alive, yeah. I think too often it can be like this high art, that dance is just for the ballet and the opera. But even at the ballet and the opera, we're talking about human things. So the TV shows do help to, make it, again, more accessible and not just a high art. Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's great too when you see, like you say, the growth. It's really beautiful, and I think any new endeavor, right? It's never too late to try something new,
right?
And any new endeavor will enrich. Whether you're starting to write a book that you've always wanted to write, or taking a ballroom dance class because you've always wanted to. I think it's really important for people to do that.
Yeah.
You can call it stepping out of your comfort zone, but maybe it's stepping into your comfort zone too.
Right.
I wish more people would do that. I know a lot of people are governed a little too much by fear and what other people might say or might think. And
fear and judgment has a chokehold on everybody.
Yeah, well, social media has that's where a lot of the negative of social media, that if there was something I could do away with, it would be all the negativity and the hate speech and all that. I don't know why such a beautiful tool as social media became this poison pen.
Right.
And a lot of people might say, well, that's just human nature. But I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that people are usually, even when they fall short, people are usually doing their best, right? I mean, I really believe that. And I believe that most people are good.
Yes.
And maybe want to help people, want to be better themselves. So yeah, I just, if there was anything I could change about social media, it would be that it would be used to build rather than destroy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think cruelty is a choice, always. I don't think it's part of our human nature. I think anger, yeah, of course, resides with everybody. Cruelty is, in my opinion, a choice, and that's what we end up seeing on social media. And I'm not on social media right now. I took myself off of it a couple weeks ago. It was like at max capacity of just emotionally. Sometimes, it's like, well, you can either handle everything or nothing. So I don't want to I don't want to see the nasty things that people are saying to one another. It's horrible.
It is.
It is so horrible. And
so you don't miss it at all.
no, not at all. No. I have my wellness page, and I will post a poem on there, or, whatever meditation I'm doing. On that page, I follow like 2 of my friends and a cat lady.
I love the cat ladies.
Yep. So I see videos of kittens, but no, I do not miss it at all.
Good. I also have extremely limited exposure to it. I talk about my podcast. I promote my podcast, and but I don't spend much time either. And it's really been very freeing to, I did an experiment. I monitored how much time I spend scrolling.
Yep.
At first, it was so alarming that I literally thought it was a mistake. I thought that my tracking of my time, this is a mistake, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't
shocking.
A mistake. It was really eye-opening.
Yep.
And so now it's the algorithms are like, we miss you. Where you been?
Right.
But yeah, I'm much more interested in human contact.
Yeah.
What else? What are you watching lately that you like? Anything on Netflix?
Oh my gosh. Right now on Netflix, I'm rewatching Breaking Bad. So that's what I'm decompressing with.
Well, Kimbra will support you on that one. Vince Gilligan has a new one, Pluribus.
Oh, I didn't know he did Pluribus.
With Ray Seahorn from Better Call Saul.
Oh,
she plays Kim Wexler on Better Call Saul. She's the star of this.
Oh, well, I'll probably be watching that.
It's not going anywhere. It's renewed for a second season, but it has that Vince Gilligan, that isolation. You'll love it.
That's fun.
You'll love it. Well, Jess, I think we've touched on everything that I've wanted to touch on. I'm so grateful to you for doing this, honey, and having this kind of retrospective of our friendship and and everything you've done and are continuing to do. How I know you said you're not really on social media, but if people wanted to visit your wellness page, how can they do that?
Yeah, that my social media is always through my first and last name, so Jessica, and then my ridiculous last name.
We'll post it.
But on my personal page, or my wellness page is called With Mindfulness with Jess. So
With Mindfulness with Jess. Yep. Okay. Yeah. We will print that out.
Yeah. I figured as I'm trying to soften my own nervous system and help myself from this past year, why not share everything I'm learning?
Yeah, why not? It's sharing growth. Again, it's like teaching.
Yeah.
Right, and teaching is learning.
Yeah.
So it can really only enrich you in the end.
Right.
Which is great.
Turns out we're never alone, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to everything ahead.
Yes.
I love you very much.
I love you.
Thanks so much for being here, love. Really, I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah, this is great.
So everybody, please Look for Jess online. Thanks so much for spending time. Please like, share, subscribe. All the best. Be well.